I think the joy that April and I just get to have in this creation that we get to go into these dingy roadside motels and just like have unlimited creativity to think about, how could we reimagine these, and then getting to actually see that transformation is what I think, back to what the soul craves. Like for us, like that just is our happiest place.
Hey friend, this conversation felt like a glass of chilled rosé on a summer afternoon. It was just full of sparkle and bold dreams and the kind of sisterhood that makes anything feel possible. Today, I had the absolute joy of sharing time with two visionary women who traded their old lives for something wildly more beautiful. A life painted in pink, fueled by friendship, and anchored in reinvention. You might know them from Motel Makeover on Netflix, where they bring heart, hustle, and a whole lot of aesthetic magic to the art of transformation, turning roadside motels into dreamy destinations that feel like a love letter to the feminine. Our chat was full of laughter, real talk, creative joy, and the kind of inspiration that just makes you want to shake things up and start fresh. These women were walking our walking proof that bold decisions made from the heart can build empires. And yes, I am dreaming about hosting a retreat, of course, at one of their spaces someday soon. So just imagine Reiki by the sea, breathwork under vintage chandeliers, sisterhood beneath neon signs. Let's dive in.
Hello, love. If you have been feeling the call to deepen your healing path or finally answer that whisper to become certified in Reiki first degree or second degree, this is your invitation. For over 26 years, I've practiced and taught Reiki in the pure direct lineage of Dr. Mikao Usui. It's guided me through motherhood, retreats, private sessions, spiritual leadership, and the sacred mess of life. And now I am offering this sacred transmission to you. Reiki 1 and 2 certification retreat, 2 post-retreat integration Zoom circles are part of this. This is a professional training and a soul deep immersion. You will leave certified, attuned, and confident to share Reiki with clients, loved ones, animals, yourself, and the world. Whether you are a healer, a creative, a teacher, a doula, a therapist, or just someone craving more trust in your inner knowing, this retreat is designed for you. So if your heart is saying yes, even just a little, I invite you to trust that, to reach out, have a conversation with me. Let's get you ready. This might be the next right step in your healing journey. So to learn more, you can just email me, siri@sageandblushwellness.com. Reach out however feels good, and I can't wait to have a conversation with you. Welcome to the Authentic Creative, where we expand our capacity to feel good, one deep breath, one bold choice, and maybe a little bit of magic at a time. I'm Siri Baruch Thornton, healer, creative, and lifelong explorer of all things energy, self-expression, and joy. With over 26 years of experience in Reiki, Akashic Records, and transformational breathwork, I've learned that feeling good is not a luxury, it's a practice. And sometimes it's a little messy. This podcast is here to help you trust your intuition, break the rules, the ones that need breaking, and live more fully in your gifts. So give yourself a deep breath, get cozy, and let's dive in.
I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this for a while now, and it's a long time in the making because I originally heard and saw Sarah and April on a show on Netflix, and you guys hopefully have seen it, but if you haven't, I encourage you to do what I just did and go back and watch it again with my family. And it was just so much fun going back and watching it. So I'm going to give a formal introduction here. So today I am joined by two inspiring and adventurous creatives, April Brown and Sarah Sklash. Am I saying Sklash right?
You are, yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. The co-founders of the June Motel and stars of the hit Netflix series Motel Makeover. Best friends turned boutique hoteliers. Try and say that 5 times. Oh my God. April and Sarah left behind careers in public relations and public service to transform a dingy roadside motel into a vibrant destination for good wine, great design, and unforgettable getaways. Since opening the June in 2016, they became icons in the world of hospitality and entrepreneurship, known for their eye-catching aesthetic, business savvy, and joyful approach to reinvention. April brings her background in PR and a bold creative vision. Quotes, paint it pink is her motto. While Sarah, with her roots in government operations, keeps everything flowing behind the scenes, together they have built a brand that has not only attracted a global following, but redefined what it means to create a soulful, guest-centered stay. So whether they are renovating in Prince Edward County, biking through Bermuda, or sipping rosé in wine country, April and Sarah are living proof that courage, friendship, I'm getting head chills just saying this, and style, anything is possible. And I just want to add a little recognition and awards that they got. The show received 3 Canadian Screen Award nominations in 2022, including Best Lifestyle Program or Series, highlighting its impact in the reality TV genre. So you guys have to go back and watch it because it's so much fun. I'm so excited that you guys are here, and I'm just going to sip on my cacao and ask you guys some questions about who you are, like behind the scenes. Because if we've seen the show, we know how much fun you have. We know that you love rosé. We know that you guys are smart and savvy, and that you've created these businesses that have all taken off, and there's several of them now. But I'm just curious, like, April, where did you grow up? What was your childhood like? Maybe just give us a little background of who April is, and then I'd like to ask you, Sarah, as well.
Yeah, so I actually grew up in Calgary, Alberta. Went to the Stampede every year, listened to country music. Had a pretty, I'd say like a pretty average childhood. It was great. We went camping every weekend, and it was like Calgary at that time, always felt like a very small town mentality. And so I always really dreamed of, leaving Calgary and going off to university or traveling the world. And, I remembered in high school, I worked like 2 or 3 jobs, and I would just I'd actually physically cash every paycheck and take the cash and put it into an envelope so I could see this like mountain of money growing. And then when I graduated high school, I went to Europe for 3 months by myself. And
Whoa.
I just had this I think, my childhood just I very much wanted to leave Calgary. I very much wanted to see the world, to travel, to experience new things, to meet new people. And yeah, and here I am running, a motel business and all about travel and hospitality. So I think, there was always something there growing up where I just really loved the idea of creating experiences for people and, living those experiences myself. So.
I love it. I want to spend like 10 days just dissecting your whole life, but I genuinely, um, it's so fascinating. I have so many questions, but also want to ask Sarah about your childhood and growing up and a little bit of your background, and then we'll keep going.
Yeah, I think April and I have really similar kind of growing up stories in some ways and completely different ones in other ways. We're both always been very like family oriented. We're still close and spend lots of time with our parents. We both have brothers who are very sporty. But I think where our childhood kind of differs is my father was a university professor when I was growing up. And he took a sabbatical when I was 5. And we went and traveled the world at a really early age for me. I lived in Australia for 6 months. I lived in France. And then we spent a couple more months just traveling around Europe. And so, really early on, I was bit by this like bug to travel and,
Didn't you also
mostly.
spend time in Israel, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that came later on, and then Hong Kong and Belgium as well. Like and now I live in Bermuda, kind of jumping ahead. So yeah, I have really like always lived my life wanting to like see all of the world. But grew up in Windsor, so one of Canada's smaller cities. Was super into school, really academic focused, and a bit of a tomboy as well. And then ended up going to Western, which is when April and I met and became best friends.
Oh, I love it. Are
Yeah.
you both the oldest or in the middle, or where do you fall in the siblings? For you, Sarah, where do you fall in with your siblings?
I'm older than my brother.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Well, I have two younger brothers and a younger sister. I'm the oldest. What about you, April?
I'm younger.
You're younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So, with your dynamic, the two of you, is it like one of you is more of the kind of brains of the business and one's the heart? Are you both like, what are your kind of unique ways of operating that you think complement each other? That I think that's so interesting.
Yeah, I think what makes Sarah and I such great partners is that we both have totally different, we both kind of came into the June with totally different skill sets and experience from our past careers. But then there's like a lot of shared values and vision and like certainly our shared love for design, our shared love for travel and creating amazing guest experiences. That's something that we both are like equally a part of. I'd say obviously my background being in PR and marketing, I took more of the like, let's build the brand, the PR side of the business, how to market it, social media, all of that. Sarah being more on the sort of operations business side of it, finances. So it's actually great because we both come with varying skill sets. So we can sort of have our separate areas of the business, but then we kind of come together for the big important stuff, like where are we going to buy our next property? What's it going to look like? Where's the June going? Like those sort of big high level
I
visions.
think it's so empowering and so impressive that during Motel Makeover, it was a team of, that we saw on camera anyway, that it was a team of three really incredibly smart, savvy women that were also just like girly girls and having fun. And we see the kind of girly girl having fun aspect, but obviously you two are like incredibly savvy and smart. And the fact that you can like continuously year after year after year work together and create success after success is just blows my mind. And I think it's so inspiring and empowering for women and female relationships. And I just love the fact that you guys bring, I just realized I have a candle here that says rosé.
Hey, we're going to pause here for just a moment. What's the thing that's never getting better? The thing that keeps you up at night? The loop you can't seem to break free from? Bring it to our Akashic record reading session. This isn't just a reading. It's a sacred conversation with your soul, with your team, your masters, teachers, and loved ones and guides. A place where the deepest parts of you are seen, heard, and understood. What happens in a session? You receive the clarity you've been searching for. You get the validation for what you've been feeling but couldn't quite name. You experience an energy clearing, releasing lower vibrational and stuck emotions so you can move forward lighter, freer, and more aligned. What if the answers you've been seeking are already waiting for you? In this space, you can finally breathe, release, and receive the relief you've been craving. One session or a package are available over Zoom from anywhere in the world. It's time to lift the weight off your heart. Say yes to clarity. Say yes to relief. Message me to book your Akashic record reading today. Link in the show notes. And we're back.
I just realized I have a candle here that says rosé.
Oh,
I,
well.
I love that you guys bring together your girlfriends. Like at the end of the show, it's your girlfriends coming and having the experience for the first time. And like that's very much the centerpiece of, it feels like the centerpiece of what you've created is come have a girls' weekend together, come rejuvenate together. And there's this real spirit and fun and element of just bonding as women. And I love that aspect. But let me get back to the script here. So I have the question for both of you, and either of you can answer or both, however you want to do it. But what gave you the courage to leave your jobs and step into the unknown to create something completely new? Like, how did following your creative instincts expand your capacity to feel good in the process? It was such like a stressful, weird, crazy time, the pandemic, to be starting a business. I mean, I can't believe you pulled it off.
So yeah, we'll take a little step back. So we bought our first motel in 2016. That's the June Motel in Prince Edward County. Now it is. When we bought it, it was like the dingy sportsman motel. Um, and we ran it for a season as the Sportsman Motel. It was a popular place for fishermen and hunters to come stay. And it was April and I just like 2 days after we bought the place, just leaping right in and figuring out how to run a motel. Um,
I did
so
not know that. Do people know that you ran that before you renovated it? Was that part of the show?
So this was before the Sauble Beach Motel. This was the other motel. And
Okay.
then yeah, so really, and it's something that we actually have done 3 times now, is we bought these motels and quietly operated them as is. Part of the reason we do that is that it's a cash flow. Like we just need, if we want the property, sometimes you need to put the offer in and you need to jump in and learn to operate them. And it's good because you get to know the building, you get to know the location. But to talk about kind of the courage it took when we first got started, I think, yeah, a lot of people are like, yeah, it's so brave. And I'm super analytical. And I remember not really feeling nervous about making this leap. I think there's 2 reasons why. One, I didn't quit my day job right away. April
Smart.
kind of
Yeah.
dove in a little deeper than I did. And I think part of that was, just, what if this doesn't go according to plan? And I financially wasn't ready as well, nor was the business to sort of support me and some of the costs, a mortgage and all of that. Um, but we also bought an existing business when we first started. So it was a motel. We had kind of the numbers that they had done before. And so we kind of knew, worst case scenario, if this doesn't go well, we've bought it, we'll sell it, we've
Mm-hmm.
gotten this really cool life experience, and like we can go back to our day-to-day lives if we have to again.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. So there was a little bit of a foundation. You
Yeah.
still hold on. I didn't realize you guys were running these motels before turning them into something different. I think that's really interesting. I've done Airbnbs with my husband for 7 years, Superhost, and it's not the same. But in terms of like renovating them, we've always just renovated straight away and
Yeah.
painted everything straight
Yeah.
away and made it all fun and pretty. And that's the exciting
Yeah.
part. But I
I
think
think
there's something really smart about what you guys have done, clearly.
Yeah, I think we would like to stop running them as is, but it's a bit of a financial trade-off as to what the right strategy is. And for us too, again, April and I started, we had no hospitality experience at all, and so really that first year running it as is was our education in how to run a motel.
Got it.
And when we purchased, so the very first motel that we purchased in Prince Edward County, we actually didn't have the money to renovate it. We only secured the financing to buy the motel. And then it was like, okay, now we need to go out and we need to, source funding to actually do the renovation itself. And so I think that was part of our thinking with the first property. And we had purchased it. I think we took possession like June 1st, and it was truly 3 days later, we were operating a sold out, dingy roadside motel. Like the previous owners had already taken reservations for the whole summer. So in some ways it was kind of good in the sense that, you take possession of this business that's already running, that already has reservations. And so it
Yeah.
kind of us like it just like forced us to jump in and go with it versus overthinking, what do we want to do? Do we want to like just like sit on this or, how to move forward, how to get those reservations? It was truly just like you jump in and we're like cleaning rooms, we're checking guests in, we're schlepping garbage to the curb on garbage day. Like it was just like immediately full on.
That's so awesome. And it does take courage to go into something that neither of you knew what you were doing at first. I mean, that's incredible. I have so many questions. I'm so curious. How did the Netflix thing come about? you're doing this and then all of a sudden you're approached or you approach them, or how did that work?
Yeah, so we opened as the June in 2017 in Prince Edward County, and like that first summer we were sold out. We knew that we had really amazing traction. We needed more motel rooms for like the demand that we had kind of created. And on top of that, we also knew that we really loved the process of finding that diamond in the rough motel, of like reimagining the entire experience of staying at one. And so we were very quickly like getting the itch to do it all over again.
Yeah.
And so it was like after that first summer, it was Sarah and we went like to a bunch of different divey motels, campsites, like you name it, we've been there across Quebec and Ontario. And we found this place in Sauble Beach. We had originally seen it in the middle of winter, and so we were like, okay, like Sauble Beach is not exactly coming to life in the middle of winter.
Mm-hmm.
Went back, summer of 2018, to look at it again. Fell in love with Sauble Beach in the summer. It was just like, everyone was in their flip-flops and like just really cool businesses were opening there. There's this like double-decker taco bus, and there's this really cute wellness cafe. And so, flash forward like 5 months later, we're putting an offer into this place, and we get a call. Our graphic designer, she's based in California, and one of her very good friends had just moved back to Toronto, and she was, she had this great idea for producing a show about like how these motels are being renovated. And she had just stayed at, sort of a renovated motel actually out in Canmore in Alberta. And she's like, up in the middle of the night thinking, gosh, there's like an interesting story of like what this place was before it's a cool boutique motel. And so we got connected. And I remember the first time we had a drink with her, and she's like, you guys need to buy another motel because I have a great idea for a show. And we were like, well, we're literally buying another motel right now. Like we're in the process of buying this motel in Sauble Beach. And so like the timing was just really, really perfect. But
Wow.
it was a super long process. Her name is Jessica Namias, and she basically created the show concept. She sold that to the production studio, Proper Productions in Toronto. Proper then takes this and they film like kind of, a teaser episode with us when we first took possession of the motel. And then they shop that around to networks and streamers. And, it was probably like a year after we had that initial drink with Jessica that we found out that Netflix wanted to make the show.
Wow, that's
So
fast. Yeah.
from having that first conversation to actually filming it was probably about a year and a half of just conversation.
Yes.
And meanwhile, we had taken possession of this motel, and we were sort of like working through what our design plan was. And at this point, there was a sort of a point right before we started the show where we were like, oh, I guess the show's not happening. Like we should just move forward with this renovation. And
Yeah.
yeah, it just kind of all happened at the same time. And so it was truly like not something that we went out and pitched, or we were not seeking this at all. The opportunity just
Just
of a
landed in your
lifetime really
lap.
truly landed in
Wow.
our lap. We really, I
Yeah.
think, we really trusted Jessica's vision for the show. I think she really understood us as like two women and entrepreneurs. And like, I don't think we would have said yes to anybody, but because, you put a lot of trust that this person's going to tell your story the right
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like we didn't see the show before it launched.
Oh, really?
You put all of your trust in these people that are making the show about you, about your business, that it's gonna, be presented in the way that you want it to be. But yeah, overall, I think a very positive experience.
Amazing. Okay, so let's start with Sarah. I want to ask, what do you feel like is truly, genuinely exactly what the experience was that we saw on the show versus the like next layer down reality of what that really was for you guys?
Yeah, I really think they captured a lot. Like it was not scripted. It was us going in and like just having these cameras follow us around. But what I do remember is I think the intention was to make 8 episodes, and they cut it down to 6.
Mm,
So one of the things that the cameras did, like the cameras weren't there with us every single day.
okay.
I think we filmed for 40 days, and we lived this motel renovation for about, I don't know, felt like a year. So there was a lot that was missed. There were some great moments that the cameras were around for. Like we had meetings with mentors, meetings with our group. Yeah, a lot of like shopping outings that we went on as well. And so in the end, the show's beautiful. It's pretty fast paced, but yeah, there was a lot that didn't quite make it into the 6 episodes.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about the pool. Did you guys really not have any sort of idea what you were going to do with that pool until the last minute?
We knew what we were going to do with the pool.
Yeah.
We truly like the lack of supplies, the lack of lumber was completely out of our control. We joke all the time. Like I think when we started filming the show, I think they filmed a lot of like the interpersonal conversations and stuff because they're trying to create like, the personality and draw like a little bit of drama here and there. But like they got the best drama they could have ever asked for with a pandemic hitting in the
Yeah.
middle of a renovation.
Yeah.
Um, that none of that was made up at all. Like literally, it was. I remember sitting outside looking at the state of the property like a week before we were supposed to open, and I was like, "There's absolutely no way this is possible." Like I was losing my mind.
Yeah, I was just thinking, did you have a lot of sleepless nights during that period of time? Were you just like completely
Sarah's the
stressed?
sleepless nights girl. I'm just like so exhausted. I I had the best sleeps because I just was so tired at the end of every day. Like
I
Yeah.
don't think I
physically and
slept that
mentally tired.
year.
Oh, so how many are there now? Are there four?
There's 3 motels.
And,
So we
and
started in Prince Edward County, then we
okay.
opened Sauble Beach, and in 2023, or opened in 2024, is the June Motel in Beaver Valley. So it's 20 minutes outside of Collingwood, and it's this really special place. It's a little bit different from the other two. We went a little bit smaller, so it's 8 rooms. And so kind of this mix between an Airbnb and a hotel. But really leaning there into a perfect place to host like groups taking over the whole property.
I love that. I see that you have a barrel sauna at one
Yeah.
of them, and it looks like you have yoga. I am so into all of that. I know you started as just like a fun girls drinking getaway, and then it feels like you're starting to lean more into the wellness sector. Can you talk about that?
Go
What's kind
ahead.
of funny is when we started the June, I think like two pillars that we were really excited about was wine and wellness. And like, how do you kind of like, I think for Sarah and I, when we always thought about our perfect weekend away, it's like doing something active and like good for yourself. And then also like indulging in like, a bottle of champagne with your girlfriends or a bottle of rosé or whatever. And so we really wanted the motel experiences to sort of embody that. And so, we've always had Saturday yoga and all of that, but I do feel like the
Okay.
wellness piece got a little lost in the whole like girlfriends having fun. And so with Beaver Valley, it was a really nice way to just like bring it really back to like wellness. And we just felt like after the pandemic, like everyone was really like there's just so many people that are burnt out, who are exhausted, who are looking for just like a really restful place. And I think Beaver Valley is the perfect destination for that. You're right along the river, so you're under the canopy of these big trees, and it just
Mm.
has a really tranquil vibe to it. And it's like, you're sitting in, comfortable chairs at the river, sipping your coffee in the morning. And I just find it really is that place to like retreat to. Um, and so, yeah, it was nice to sort of bring that up, like that element of wellness sort of back into the brand.
I'm asking because I happen to be a healer and I facilitate breathwork and I facilitate
Oh,
teaching people Akashic record reading, which some people don't know what that is, but it's basically like a whole spiritual thing, right? And with guidance. And then, of course, I've been doing Reiki for 26 years. So I'm like, ooh, I would love to do, and I started running retreats recently.
amazing. You
So I'm
would love this property.
Do you have a lot of people starting to come in and take over and do women's retreats? And it's like maybe there's a sound bath or things like that?
Yeah, and I think that's what's really the unique spot. Like the unique thing about this property is because it's 8 rooms, it is really accessible for people to come in and take over the whole property and create their own sort of experience at the June. Whether it's just like a group of friends for a friend's getaway or somebody who wants to just like bring a bunch of women together for an amazing sort of transformative experience. Even small leadership retreats, so companies coming in and
Nice.
out and having like their meetings on site and maybe a private dining experience. So we were getting a lot of those requests at our other motel, but because we're 16 rooms in the county and we're 24 rooms in Sauble Beach, the ask is much bigger, that you have
Mm.
to feel like you can you really fill, all of the rooms, was always the question. And so yeah, we really just saw an opportunity that this was the perfect size for people to truly take over, to have a space that feels like their own for a couple of days.
I love that. Okay, with the Airbnbs that my husband and I have run over the years, we never really took advantage until the final one of actually enjoying our spaces. And in the beginning, I was like so meticulous about everything. Like, don't touch that if we stayed there. Like, it was just, and then I finally relaxed in the final Airbnb. Do you guys ever get to enjoy your spaces and have friends and have a party or like have a group meetings there or like get in the barrel sauna or whatever?
Yeah, so we definitely, April and I have a shared group of friends. And so something really special is we do, maybe once a year, make sure that we bring our friends, we enjoy it with them. I would say though that it's always, I would say like 75% pleasure and 25% you are still at work.
Yeah.
And so you enjoy it for sure. And I think it's really important as well, especially when you're creating an experience, to like go through it as a guest does. So go through the
Hmm.
whole check-in process. Spend a lot of time in the rooms and you see things that, if you're just visiting as a meeting or a visit you might not see, but when you're staying as a guest, like you see everything.
Yes.
But it's definitely enjoyable, but also that little bit of work as well.
Yeah, and you're always, if you're going to take it over, you're always thinking, well, this is revenue that we can't put in our
Yeah.
pockets
Yeah, we
now.
tend to go on like a rainy November day.
Yeah. Is it like asking someone who's their favorite child if I ask each of you which one's your favorite location? Is it like
Yeah, that's
you, we
when
love
people
them all
ask,
the
that's
same?
how I always respond. I think, they're different in every way, and there's different things that we love about each of them. So yeah, hard to say which one's the favorite.
I think it
April?
depends on the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you split your time equally between them or are you mostly just kind of at one? Like how much are you actually there?
So when we are in the process of getting a place open, that's when we are the most intensely there, and the renovations, the first week, kind of really, really on the ground. And now we have really great teams at all the properties. And so again, back to your point of like how much are we there? We like to go and spend time with the team, check in on the properties, but also trying not to take away too much revenue as well. And so balancing it out. Um, so yeah, I'm there each property every other month, maybe for a couple days. And then April lives pretty close to the motel in Prince Edward County, so I was able to be there more often as well.
So, okay, now I have a question about you're really overseeing teams, it sounds like, and operational. So that's interesting versus being in there and creating and designing. It's such a different beast. Do you feel like you guys are spending the bulk of your time doing what you want to be doing in terms of like running the show from the background, or are you like, I just want to get in there again and like be creative and like paint things? And how does that balance for you?
I think, it'll never be like it was with the very first motel where we were literally the ones, putting the wallpaper up and painting on the walls and laying the tile on the floors. I think naturally we've gotten busier and busier with each motel that we open. And so I don't think we can be quite as hands-on as we were in the very like beginning
The
stages of the
good old
business.
days.
The
Yeah.
good old days. And then yeah, to your point you asked earlier about yeah, like what don't we see on the Netflix show? Well, you don't see that we actually go and we operate these motels. I think that's like a really, really big one, right? So
Yeah.
the phase of finding the motel and designing and reimagining that experience is absolutely what Sarah and I want to just like solely do because
Okay.
it's like
Got it.
our favorite thing. We are like most alive or most in the flow when we're doing that work.
Yeah.
But we also really, we take a lot of pride in the June and wanting to maintain it as like a great place to stay. And that takes a lot of commitment and diligence to the guest experience and making sure that we are like growing a really incredible team that can bring that vision to life every single day at the properties. And that takes up a huge chunk of our time every week. And so I think we, Sarah and I, every month at least have to have this conversation of like, how do we get out of doing that so we can do this, so we can do more of this, we haven't
Yes.
really nailed the right recipe for that. I think, we've said to each other this year, like, this is going to be the year that we like, you know, go and do that next thing that we want to do with the June. And so we are both, I think, in a stage of finding ways to sort of get out of the nitty gritty and focus on the big picture stuff that really excites us. And so there is like, light at the end of the tunnel with all of this, but yeah, there's always things that just, and we're heading into, summer, which is our busiest season. So there's always going to be things that like pull us back into that.
Yeah. So much operational business to be done, so much nitty gritty, but it sounds like you know how to create teams that support you and you can continue to allocate and outsource. And I was just thinking, I bet there's people that would love to hire you guys to just like renovate for them and redo their businesses for them. You've probably been asked to do that, right?
Yeah, we get asked that a lot, and so far we haven't said yes once. There's always a moment where we get tempted, because we think it would be fun and looking for revenue opportunities. But we're really passionate about the
Your babies.
June. Yeah, and we want to kind of grow our own brand. So really it's trying to stay focused on that.
Yeah, and so Bermuda, do you want to open something there, or is that like, no, that's my place where I just go and chill and be me and
Yeah, it's so I'm here. My husband got transferred to Bermuda, so this is kind of home base for me. I think Bermuda would be a tough place to operate. And we still think there's so much opportunity in Canada. I think our next opportunity, next one or maybe more, will stay in Canada.
Okay, so how many people are coming from within Canada to your locations? And how many people, like, what's the percentage of people coming from all over the world or from America? Like, what is that like for you
Yeah,
guys?
I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's like 95% are Canadian.
Okay.
A lot GTA, but across Ontario and a lot of Quebecois as well. And so yeah, we're really like optimistic about this summer. I think Canadians are really interested in staying within Canada to travel this year. And just, with the exchange rates and politics, we think it's going to end up being a good summer for us. So, whether anyone out there is thinking of staying at the June or elsewhere in Canada, I would suggest just booking early because I think it's going to be a busy travel season this year.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so here's another question for you guys. Transforming a roadside motel into a beautifully designed, feel-good experience is such a creative act, which we were just sort of touching upon the creativity. What was your vision for how you wanted people to feel when they stepped into the June? And has that changed at all, or is it still the same as it was?
I don't think it's changed. I think we've like maybe found better words to describe what we were like trying to do in the early days. I don't know if, like looking back, I don't know if we really sat down and we had like this like strong intention of how we wanted people to feel. We more thought, what are the things we would like if we were going to wine country with our girlfriends? Oh, we'd want like real wine glasses in the room. It'd be great if like we didn't just like focus on filling out paperwork and giving you our credit card, but we had, a proper glass of rosé at check-in, oh, great, let's take that a step further. Maybe it's not a check-in desk. Maybe it's actually just like a lobby bar that you're checking into. And so that it was more this creative exercise of like, what would we and our girlfriends want? Because that's sort of what the June, really the guest experience was rooted in. But over the years, I think, yeah, we've sort of like refined what that means. And it really is like for us, it's all about helping people live the good life. And I think there's this element of like joy and celebration that we want people to feel when they check into the gym. Like, you can sort of check in and experience like sort of the very best versions of your life and leave your reality or your 9 to 5 sort of at the door. It's
Yeah.
about cracking open the bottle of wine with your girlfriends and having a great time or whoever you choose to come with. I think that's the other thing. It's like we started as this brand that was really about like bringing your friends together, but
Mm.
you know, we got a lot of bachelorettes in the early years, and then we got like a lot of couples. She has her bachelorette, she gets married, she comes as a couple, she has kids now, so we get a lot of families now. And so it's been really cool to see that evolution. I think our marketing and our design is always really designed to speak to her as the one that's booking the vacation, but being a place that you can, come together with whoever it is that you love and want to spend time with, want to create memories with. Um,
Yeah, and you guys were kind of on the cutting edge of the whole Instagram selfie thing, yeah?
yeah, I feel like it all just kind of happened at the same time. I feel like when we opened in 2017, I feel like businesses and brands were just starting to realize the power of Instagram and start to tell really visual stories. And with that, we also were really able to tap into that because we were very cognizant of that as we were designing the June. We were like, what is the visual moment here? What is the photo moment? What's the backdrop behind the bed? What's the backdrop when you like are sipping your rosé at check-in? And so we were very, very intentional about that. And I actually think that's, it's one of the things I would attribute to that like very early traction that we got, was that we were able to tell a super visual story that kind of went viral on Instagram in the early years.
Yeah, it just promotes itself. It's so smart. Yeah, it's amazing. So, okay, you've built something that blends hospitality, which we were just talking about, nostalgia and design into such a unique way. So, how has creating these spaces expanded your own sense of joy and connection and creativity? Don't all
You want
speak
me to
at
take that one?
once.
Yeah, I think again, it's like tapping into us as people, and like every time we go and buy a new motel, like we've evolved. Our lives, our family
Yeah.
situations have changed, and thinking about what we would want at these properties, what our peer group would want. Thinking about our guests. So just tapping into those things that like will put a smile on people's face and will give people a space to truly connect. And I think that's like something that we want the June to really be about is it's not just a place to sleep. It's a place that you can come and come together with the people that you came with, but also meet other people. So like really social environments. So for example, we have these communal fire pits at every single motel, and
Love it.
the number of people that have said that they've like made friends at that fire pit, they've exchanged numbers with people at that fire
Oh.
pit is really, I think, special, and like it says that we're on the right track of
Mm.
what we're creating, because I think it is about just, yeah, having that human connection offline.
And
That
I think
that's so important what you're saying about circling around the fire. I wanted to start another podcast called Around the Fire because just getting together in person and creating community. I mean, that is archetypal, that is ancient, that is what our souls crave. We all just want to be together in connection in real life
Yeah.
and to meet other people that, you know, are also just trying to figure life out together,
Yeah.
but having a moment where they can just drop, like you said, just drop everything and just kind of like be present with each other and be circle around the fire. I think that's so primal and needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
And
it.
yeah, I think to speak to like April and I's kind of personal joy from this creative aspect too is, I came from a pretty serious government job that was, very administratively focused and very little room for creativity. And April as a creative as well, always had clients and so had to make, her creative vision fit with the client's vision. And so I think the joy that April and I just get to have in this creation that we get to go into these dingy roadside motels and just like have unlimited creativity to think about, how can we reimagine these and then getting to actually see that transformation is what I think, back to what the soul craves, like for us, like that just is our happiest place.
It reminds me of dating a guy in New York City whose apartment was just such a man cave and then turning it into what I wanted it to be when I moved in with him on the Upper West Side. And then his best friend coming over and saying, "It looks like a vagina exploded in here." It's like there's something so satisfying about turning everything pink.
Yeah, yeah.
It really is. It's a good cover.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, okay, let's get to some like fun, juicy wrap up questions. So, we talked about was there anything that happened during filming that didn't make it into Motel Makeover a little bit, but did we miss anything or did we catch that?
I think we got it.
Okay, and then what's something people would be surprised to know about running a motel after the cameras stopped rolling? Like what would we not understand? I think we touched on that a little bit. You said there's just so many meetings and kind of mechanical things behind the scenes. Yeah. Okay. And then you both come from such different professional backgrounds. So how do those worlds show up in how you run the June? I mean, you're both business savvy, you have business backgrounds, you're used to working with clients and sort of aligning those visions creatively. So we've kind of touched on that. And then what's the best, this is kind of fun. What's the best disagreement you've ever had as business partners that turned out to be a blessing?
Ooh, that's a good question. Turned out to be a blessing. So many of our business decisions that we're like struggling with are like really stupid little design things at like the motels. Um, Sarah always recounts the story of us disagreeing about which side of the bed the garbage bins should be on, because I firmly don't think they should be a first impression moment, and Sarah thinks that they should be easily accessible, It's those things. And we'd go back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah.
But, um, the big picture stuff, I have to say that we are pretty aligned on the big stuff. And I think that's like goes to like very shared vision, very much a shared vision and shared values. Um, I don't know. Can you think of anything, Sarah?
Yeah, no, I think without a specific example, I think you do want a business partner that I don't think it's actually healthy if you agree on every single decision. I think
Yeah.
with that, you're not necessarily pushing one another. So, April and I definitely come to things and we'll, have discussions and give our own perspectives. And I think like really we trust one another, and our perspectives. And so having those um, different perspectives is something in itself that is just the blessing, I think.
It's incredible that you've maintained your friendship and that you run a business together. It's absolutely incredible. I just think women being good, close friends is incredible. And then also women working together is incredible. And then you've got both of those things happening. So kudos to both of you that you've made it a success, that you've made your friendship a success and your business relationship a success, and the business is a success. And done it in such a, new kind of creative, fun, beautiful, feminine way that's really to like what you wanted, what you saw yourself as. And I think that's why it spoke to so many people is like what you said, April, is just like, what would we want? How would we want to show up and experience this? We don't want like this mechanical check-in experience. We want to just like drop our bags, have a drink, relax, show up, be our full selves. So this is called the Authentic Creative. I think you guys are both clearly authentic creatives. And the tagline is expanding our capacity to feel good. And clearly that's what you're doing for people. And a lot of women specifically, which I think is incredible. I would love to come to one of the motels and have a firsthand experience. I have one woman who was just at a retreat that I did on the coast, on the Oregon coast, and she runs retreats in like off of Vancouver. And so I kind of want to talk to her like, hey, maybe we could do something at one of your places.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for being willing to show up and spend so much intimate time with me and go off script with me. It's so appreciated. You guys are wonderful and amazing. And I think anyone that watches your show or comes to your motels are going to just fall in love with both of you clearly, and the experience that you create is just an extension of your hearts and your creativity and who you are in the world. So I think that's really felt, and it's such a just a beautiful needed experience. So anything else that you just wanted to plug? Like, where do you want people to find you? I'm going to put everything in the show notes anyway, but if there was just like an event or anything you want to plug.
I think it's just like what Sarah said. It's going to be a big, busy summer. Come stay at the June. I think book early. We are seeing a lot of weekends very close to sold out, which is exciting. But yeah, hope to see everyone at the June.
Awesome. All right. Thank you guys.
Thank
This was
you. That was such a fun chat.
wonderful. I'm so happy we did this. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
same.
And audience that's listening, listener there, thank you for expanding your capacity to feel good. Please let us know if you have any questions. Reach out. You can find the June Motel on Instagram. I'll put their tag here. And just enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Love you guys. Bye for now.
Hey, love, if your soul has been whispering for more connection, more clarity, more you, come join us for a truly sacred weekend, the Goddess of Light Retreat, happening September 28th to the 30th, 2025, in the breathtaking energy of Mount Hood National Forest in Oregon. This immersive retreat is an Akashic record reading certification and soul activation experience designed to bring you home to your deepest knowing and infinite wisdom of the Akashic. We'll gather in sisterhood to open the Akashic records. You will learn to read the Akashic for yourself and for others through a powerful 4-part training that begins before the retreat and culminates in our live graduation ceremony in Oregon. And if for any reason you don't feel fully empowered by the end of our retreat, we're going to have a couple more Zooms afterwards. It's not just about learning. This is about empowering you. This is about embodying the full spectrum of what it means to open the Akashic. We will infuse our time together with transformational breathwork, Reiki, and art activation with Amy Tangerine, cacao ceremony, forest waterfall walk, and space to integrate in nature while soaking in the hot tub that's an indoor-outdoor hot tub, having fully catered, nourishing meals, and some quiet magic time. This is about remembering who you are and why you're here. It's about unlocking your gifts in a circle that sees you and supports you. Spots are intentionally limited, so head to the link in the show notes or reach out to me directly to feel into whether this is for you. I would be honored to welcome you into the Akashic Records and into this sacred retreat. Thank you so much for listening and breathing with us. If this episode moved something in you, if it brought clarity, comfort, or even just a deeper breath, please take a moment to leave a 5-star review. It helps more than you know and allows this show to reach the hearts that need it most. And don't keep the medicine to yourself. Share the authentic creative with your people. Send it to a friend, post it in your stories, text your favorite quote, or shout it from the metaphorical rooftops. Every share, every review, every ripple makes a huge difference. Keep expanding your capacity to feel good, and I'll see you in the next breath.